Indiana Black coming to you live, yes, all the way live from Black Girl Studios, where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. If you missed out on the Hoosier Women Forward lunch yesterday, I feel kind of sad for you. There is nothing better than getting together in one large room, a gaggle, a notebook full of amazing Democratic women who are looking to empower themselves and empower each other. Congratulations to Class 5. I am not going to name off everybody because there's 22 amazing women, I did that, women from all over the state who are looking to improve, grow, do the work to make Indiana a better place to live. And they're willing to sacrifice time with family to hone their skills and do all the things that they do. So congratulations on Class 5. Congratulations on another successful luncheon. To the Amy's, you know who you are. We dig the work that you're doing. And of course, an amazing shout out to Leanne Holka, who was the inaugural recipient of the Betty Cochran Leadership Award. It did not deserve to go to anyone other than this amazing woman who constantly is working on ways to improve lives through policy and her advocacy work. And she's a mom, and she's a wife, and she does all those other things, but she still puts us in her space. Right? So she even started a whole new PAC called Our Choice Coalition. I'm working on some things with her, so hopefully we can get that out to you guys. But look, she doesn't even stop. She gets an award. Some people get an award and they sit down and they chill, right? Have you ever seen those fellas get those huge contracts, in basketball or football or baseball, and then their production drop off? No, not with Leanne. She's still working hard. So to all the Hoosier Women Forward out there, y'all know it's one of my favorite organizations in the state, elevating women, giving them the opportunity to shine, and continuing to fight back against those that want to take our rights away. Speaking of which, 14 News reports on September 22nd, a preliminary injunction was placed on the new abortion law 1 week after it went into effect. That's after multiple groups sued, claiming that the new law violated the state's constitution. Now all eyes are on the Supreme Court. There is no reason to find it unconstitutional, so it should survive, unless you have a situation where the court decides it needs to invent law, says your Indiana Attorney General, Todd Rokita. He will not go away. But the Indiana Supreme Court will make a decision. We asked for transfer immediately to the Indiana Supreme Court because, frankly, lives are at stake. Every day that goes by, a human life, and many others are going to be extinguished, Rokita said. Rokita argues that the right to an abortion is not protected in the state constitution. However, the chief legal counsel for Planned Parenthood of Great Northwest, Hawaii, Alaska, Indiana, and Kentucky disagree. Christine Stanley said Article 1, Section 1 protects decisions about whether to carry a pregnancy to term, and the AG's opinion are as dangerously outdated as his out of touch with his constituents. If the ban is lifted, the new law, which closes abortion clinics and only allows abortions in the case of rape, incest, or if the mother's life is in danger, will go back into effect. Okay, so, there's a couple of things I want to hit on first. In case of rape, incest, or the mother's life. So basically, in order for a woman to actually have any rights, her initial rights had to be violated to begin with by being assaulted. I want y'all to let that sink in and marinate for a minute. Second of all, see how much money our state is spending on lawsuits that Attorney General feels like he needs to be all up in our uterus, all up in our womb. He wants to spend our tax dollars fighting these things. Third, he'll be on the ballot soon. I need somebody to run for Attorney General. Holla at your girl, because I'm about tired of this dude. He goes down to the border. Now, mind you, I'm trying to figure out what Indiana has to do with the border. My geography ain't perfect, but I have a feeling that as Hoosiers, we are not necessarily dealing with the border issue the same way that Texas and Georgia, not even Georgia, my bad, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, what they're dealing with. So the fact that he actually took our tax dollars to go down there, let those governors handle it. The borders you need to be worried about are the ones that, border the Ohio River, Lake Michigan. There's Vigo on one side and Wayne Township, Wayne County on the other side. Those are the borders you're supposed to be worried about. But you too busy up in a woman's uterus trying to tell her what she should do and remove her rights. Y'all think I'm playing? Y'all think I'm not serious about this? The AP reports a federal judge has barred Indiana from enforcing a 2016 law's provision that require abortion clinics to either bury or cremate fetal remains, finding that they violate the U.S. Constitution. U.S. District Judge Richard L. Young ruled that the law's requirements infringe on the religious and free speech rights of people who do not believe aborted fetuses deserve the same treatment as deceased people. The Constitution prohibits mechanisms, overt or disguised, designed to prosecute or oppress a religion or its practice. The fetal disposition requirements are contrary to the principle, Young wrote in Monday's decision, which granted summary judgment to the plaintiffs who had sued the state of Indiana. Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita, a defendant in the lawsuit, said Tuesday that his office will appeal the ruling, and the lawsuit was filed in 2020 on behalf of the Women's Med Group Abortion Clinic in Indianapolis. Its owner, two nurse practitioners who work at the clinic, and 3 women who are each listed as Jane Doe. The attorneys from the state's attorney general's office argued that the state has the right to express a preference for childbirth instead of abortion, Young wrote. But the judge added that just because the government may use its voice to espouse an idea does not mean it can compel other voices to speak its messages. He's going to file an appeal, and he's going to spend some more of our money fighting, which a judge said was unconstitutional. Again, more stuff, more money going out, more money fighting. And what's so funny about this one is, does anyone remember RFRA? The Religious Freedom Restoration Act, was the one that actually woke me up out of my coma. And when it came to civic engagement and I ran for office, y'all remember that? How it was like, oh my God, we got to protect religious freedoms. Oh my God, don't violate my religion. Oh my God. But see, they only stand by that policy and that law when it is not a Christian religion that could be violated. Have y'all noticed that? Have y'all noticed that? They will fight everybody else's religion but their own. So which leads me to believe you really never cared about religion anyway. You just wanted to be bigoted behinds when it came to LGBTQ plus issues. I'm going to let y'all marinate on that one for just a minute longer. We're going to change topics for just a minute because I know that I get hyped up when it comes to women's reproductive rights and your ability to tell me what I can and can't do with my body. Because, they really trying to do that. I don't know why. I don't know why they can barely manage their own bodies. Plus, they don't even know how to navigate their way around a woman's body. They need to leave it alone. Just leave it alone. I'm going to change the subject and I'm going to talk about WishTV.com reports. Frank Garrison, I need y'all to write that name down. Frank Garrison will get up to $20,000 eliminated for his student loans through President Biden's plan. However, a lawsuit filed against the U.S. Department of Education states it will end up costing him more money. He's actually going to just get a $1,000 tax bill extra in April, but he's not going to get any benefit out of this at all, explains Michael Poon, interesting name, one of Garrison's attorneys on the case. What we're asking the court to do is to stop the student loan forgiveness program. It's a little presumptuous to think, well, people can surely afford $1,000. Poon says the main argument in the lawsuit is that the Education Secretary, Miguel Cardona, and his agency acted unconstitutionally. Nevertheless, questions have come to light about the firm's political ties. The firm currently accepts donations from right-wing billionaire Charles Koch. Here's what he had to say about that. I can't comment on who our donors are or what they have given or anything like that. But what I can say is I would ask those people to look at our work. We've consistently been trying to hold the government accountable, administrations across political parties. I really don't think this is a partisan issue. I think this is an issue with separation of powers and how we're supposed to be able to govern ourselves. Now, here's the deal. I am not all that thrilled that the state of Indiana is going to tax those who get $10,000 or $20,000 relief in their student loan debt. I find it, wrong, and that Indiana ought to address that. Oh, wait, I do believe we have a Hoosier who is in the State House who plans to address that issue. Representative Greg Porter is going to submit a bill this upcoming General Assembly to say, can we like roll back those taxes on that student loan forgiveness? But let's be clear. I understand that it may be a little bit more difficult for some people to pony up on an extra tax bill. But one thing I do know is that the Indiana and the IRS will allow you to work with them to make any payments that you need to make on any outstanding tax bills. So for if you're getting the need a $1,000 bill or a $500 bill, they will work with you to get those things paid off. And I'm sorry, the last time I checked, $20,000 is a little bit bigger than $1,000. I don't know. I'm not a mathematician. I'm not. But I thought 20,000 was bigger than 1,000. I don't know. But it sounds to me like there are some folks who are just a little upset that this president actually is trying to do something to help people. Sounds to me like some folks don't want Hoosiers to see some kind of financial relief. Why does the other side want to constantly keep Hoosiers in financial distress? You don't want to educate them so they can be competitive in the workforce and that will attract jobs to Indiana that are high paying. You don't want to do that. You don't want to deal with the minimum wage and try to raise that and make sure that we're people are getting a living wage. There's so many things that the other side is trying to do to keep folks in financial distress. Can we stop voting for these clowns? Can we start voting for people who are going to look out for Hoosiers, who care about our bottom line versus, I don't know, the Koch brothers? Are you serious right now? All I'm saying is we have an opportunity to change things, y'all. And one thing I will tell you is this. All politics is local. Yes, 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 yes. And so tonight, first of all, I love having local candidates on. They excite me because they're the ones that are having the real conversations with the constituents. I mean, think about it. Our Congress folks can't go talk to 70,000 people. But when you're on a county council or city council, you can talk to as many many of your constituents as you possibly can because you live in the community and you see folks at the grocery store. You might have to, work that out, but you'll see them in the grocery store. And you know that you're going to help them fix those potholes, right? Y'all, tonight I want to introduce you to a couple of guys that are hanging out with their name on the ballot at the county level. First up, I have Dennis Tedrow, who is running in the Dubois County Council, District 2. Dennis, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing? Great to be here.
I'm excited to have you. Second up, I have Matt Farmer, who is running in Boone County and for County Council in District 1. Matt, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
I love it. First of all, before we get started on who you guys are and what you guys are working on, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Heat finally broke, so it's not so hot, but it's still a little chilly.
It's a little chilly for me too. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I took off work a little bit early today, so that's always nice.
Heck yeah. Those early days off are wonderful. Guys, I do have to ask you. I know how you feel about, the abortion ban and all of that. But I want to ask this question. When you see our Attorney General spending dollar after dollar fighting and arguing over our constitutional rights or our ability to control our own body, how do y'all feel about that?
Dana, I'm the kind of guy that whenever I leave for work in the morning, I shut my AC off to save money. So hearing how many millions, all of the wasted money that he's costing us every time makes me sick.
I agree, but it's not so much of a money thing. It's an attack on our rights. So that's insult to injury. If he was, filing lawsuits to help protect our rights, would not be as concerned with the dollar amount.
That's a good point. You make a good point there because how would I feel if he was spending money to protect our rights? That's a good point. I appreciate that. All right, let's get into who you guys are, because the whole goal of this show is to get people to love you, donate to you, volunteer for your campaign so that you can get elected. And by the way, guys, if you like what they're talking about and you want to support these candidates, click on their donate link. It's right below in the section. You can see it. Click on their link and donate to them, because every campaign needs dollars. I wish they didn't, but they do. And since we know how the game is played, give them $5. Give them $10 while we talk to these amazing men tonight. All right, Dennis, tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Hey, okay. So name's Dennis. I go by Teddy. Everybody that I know calls me Teddy. So Dana, you and Matt, you two, you both are welcome to call me Teddy. Teddy. So I'm from a little rural county, just next to Dubois, but I spent a lot of time in Dubois growing up. But I was born on a cold Christmas night when my sister told my mom, or told my mom's belly, that it was time to come out. So out I came right on Christmas morning.
Look at you being an angel.
That's a good way to look at it. Went to a really small school. It was pretty common for me to see different horse and buggies on the way to school, because there was a pretty big Amish population where I grew up. So as a Hispanic, I was the only one in the entire school. So that was a weird kind of culture thing to grow up in.
Ooh.
But now that I'm older, in Dubois County, there's a much larger population here, so I feel much more welcome and at home. But that was something that was kind of odd whenever I was growing up. Went to college at UE for political science, environmental science, and international science. Wasn't a huge fan of the workload, so I ended up dropping out after 3 years and moved up to Vermont to open a bar, which was the best time of my life.
Okay.
I learned so much doing that. Eventually, circumstances kind of changed, and I found myself back home working in a factory. Couldn't really picture myself there for the rest of my life, so I went back to college and got a bachelor's in business administration. Started working for a university that I graduated from. So trying to fight the good fight, help spread the word about education, and trying to show kids in high school and everything that it's really important, and that there's a lot of good options that you can kind of move into once you get older.
I love it. So what made you want to get off into the political space? I mean, I know you studied it, but I mean, studying is one thing and actually being there is a whole nother animal.
Yeah, so that kind of goes back to high school. There was an article that came out whenever I think I was a sophomore, where President Obama was investing $400 million into renewable energy or renewable resources. And I was so amazed by that. I was like, oh, wow, renewable resources, like renewable energy, that's cool as all get out. So I took it to my history teacher and I put it in his mailbox. And then during class, he kind of walks in with that paper that I put in there with the article. And he just kind of starts berating me and bashing me in front of the entire class. And I was just completely thrown for a loop by it. I was like, what the heck is going on? But he kept saying don't ever put anything from Obama in my mailbox. Don't ever talk to me about that. And it blew my mind. I was like, what is the deal with, he's the president. I don't get it. Why is that such a bad thing? So didn't really understand that politics could be so, there's so much vitriol in it, I guess. So after that, I kind of started really looking into it. And I was like, what's actually the deal here? What's going on? And so that jump started everything. I tried to get involved, try to pay attention to everything, try to be up to date on what's going on. And yeah, and like you said in the beginning, found out local politics have a lot more power and can do a lot more things in your actual life.
I love it. Matt, tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Well, I'm Matt Farmer, and I come from Central Indiana. Real quick, before I go into my story, I'm having some difficulties seeing you, Dana, on
You're not gonna see
the
me.
screen.
You're not gonna see me. No.
Okay. All right, I'll wait for the YouTube video. I was hoping to react off of your reactions because you're a pretty animated face,
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I can't help myself.
But I'll just react off of Teddy. That'll be good enough. But
Here you go.
Anyway, I grew up on the southwest side of Indianapolis, very conservative parents, and went to school at IUPUI for biology. graduated there in 2008, and then went up to Fort Wayne to pursue a master's in biology. At the time, I thought I was wanting to do land management type work. And that was right during the recession period when I was getting out. And so at that time, all those jobs are government or not-for-profit agencies.
Mm-hmm.
And in a bad recession, donations to not-for-profits go down and tax revenues go down. So,
Yep.
parks workers, are going to get the axe before teachers and cops and firefighters and stuff. So they were projecting hiring freezes for 4+ years, and I was like, I got to get out of this career
Mhm.
path. I was, looking what was available with the skills I had, and randomly, I found this career in neurodiagnostics,
Oh.
and I have been doing that for the past 11 years.
Okay, wait, time out. What is
Yeah.
neurodiagnostics?
So, neurodiagnostics is a very big, broad field that involves pretty much anything with your central or peripheral nervous system. It encompasses EEG and sleep studies, nerve conduction things. But where I specialize is intraoperative neuromonitoring. So people who are getting surgeries for neck fusions and back fusions and a couple of different vascular type surgeries, carotid endarterectomies, and where they there's a blockage in someone's carotid and they go in and they take that out, or aortic aneurysms, things like that, brain tumors. We're able to attach electrodes to the patient. Different surgeries need different types of monitoring, but basically where you stimulate a sensory or motor nerve or area of the brain and then record the responses somewhere else, typically on the other side of the operation, that you can assess that those nerves and the brain and the blood flow is all working properly while the patient is asleep. So if there's any changes in the operation, you can let the surgeon, you can let the anesthesiologist know in real time so that they can, stop and address the situation and hopefully prevent any further damage or even correct any problems so that there's, no deficits after the surgery.
So you're like a medical engineer, like you have an engineer on the plane, you got the pilot, but then you got the engineer that kind of monitors all the gauges and stuff. That's pretty dope. I didn't even know that. See,
I feel like I've been kind of desensitized to it over the past decade.
No, Dennis, no, we're not underachievers, not at all.
I'm thinking like, man, if I ever need surgery or something, I'm definitely calling that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like what? No, we're not underachievers. We are just fine. We are okay, Dennis.
We're doing fine. We're okay. We're okay. Just hold me. Just hold me, Dana.
Wow, that is amazing. So how do you take obviously elevated field of study and say, I'm going to go into public policy? How'd you do that?
I think for, people who are more liberal, 4 of the past 6 years were very grit your teeth and bear it kind of years.
Mm-hmm.
And, things have started to turn around. And when Biden was being elected, I wanted to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I forget how I found out, but I volunteered to work a phone bank and call people in Florida and Ohio. I did it a handful of times. I'm not going to say like, I was a warrior 3 times a week, hours at a time.
You don't have to be though. That's the cool thing.
Bit. And that got my name on a list of people who cared. Mm-hmm. And I'm almost certain, I was trying to look back through the text messages in my phone to find it. I couldn't find it, but I'm a new father.
Oh, hey, Dad.
My son Daniel was born November 12th last year. So
Congratulations.
the weekend, his first birthday is the weekend after the election. So it's like, bam, bam.
Give him a reason to look. 2 parties.
Yeah.
Just throw them all in together. A celebration and a birthday. Hey, let's make it happen, Captain.
And I believe I was in the delivery room. It was a long labor. It's like 36 hours of being around and stuff.
Whoa.
And I got a text from someone in the Indiana Democratic Party, and they're like, "Would you like to run for office?" And I was just thinking about my impending son being born, and I can complain about the things that are happening, or I can try and step up and be part of the solution.
Yeah.
And which story do I want to tell my son?
Yeah.
And so that got me going down that path. Other people had told me previously, you should run for office, any office, and I would tell them like that's a bad idea.
After that last administration, though, dog.
But if Donald Trump did anything, he proved that anybody can run for office
and be better at it.
So I thought, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Put myself out there and see if I can bring something different to the table.
Yeah.
And in Boone County, the entire government is Republican.
Yeah.
7 out of 7 of the county council members are Republican. 3 out of 3 in the county council, and every single elected position. Zionsville does have a Democratic mayor.
One of the best mayors in the whole state. Let's shout her out. The fabulous Mayor Emily Stiron. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I be groupie and I mean, like, executive level women. I'm a groupie. I can't help myself. Well, hang on a second. So Dennis, when you hear, the story about him being in Boone County and it is, all Republican, it's the same way down in Dubois, right?
Yeah, pretty much exactly the same way too. Extremely, extremely red area. Whenever Trump ran against Hillary, I think we were the worst performing county in the state for Hillary.
Oh, that's a little scary, but that's okay. I mean, that means there's only one way to go.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, when I looked at the data, so all the voting information is publicly available. So when I decided I was going to run, I got on the Boone County website, pulled up all the voting data for all of my district and all of my precincts, and I was really kind of encouraged.
Okay.
Because most of the candidates were skewing 2-1 Republican to Democrat, but for Trump Biden, it was very close to 50-50. And I think Biden might have been a few months since I looked at it, but I think Biden might have even had edge in my district. And so that tells me there's a lot of moderate Republicans in my area that are not just, straight ticket voters. They were unsatisfied with, the behavior and the results that they saw. And, they wanted something different. They wanted a change, and they're willing to, vote that D, even though they probably didn't agree with everything.
But now we got to get them to look at those down ballot, slots. That's the thing. They were all upset about, the idiot, the orange idiot. But now we got to get them, down ballot because, it's one thing to vote Biden, but we still, didn't gain any seats in our state house. We didn't really gain any more mayors. We did so now we've got to get those down ballots. So Dennis, when you're out there talking to the people in your community, and you go knock on doors, what are they saying to you?
Well, what I'm asking them is what kind of problems are they facing in the county, or what would they like to see a change in their life? Because kind of like what we talked about earlier, so much more can actually change at the local level, where you can actually see change in your day-to-day life through the local levels changes. And biggest thing that people are talking about right now is childcare.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know this because I don't have kids, and none of my friends have kids. We're not at that age yet. I'm only 28, but
I remember 28.
Just like 2 or 3 years ago.
Decades ago.
Yeah, it's just like the insane cost of it. And then it blew my mind when someone told me, yeah, my babysitter's sick with COVID, so I got to find a different babysitter for 2 weeks, and I still have to pay the original one or I lose my spot. And I was like, that is insane to me. That's blows my mind that people are having to do that here, just because there is such a lack of childcare providers, and there's a lot of kids around. So
it's a second mortgage.
Yeah,
Really
I mean,
is.
it blows my mind. And like when people complain about, oh, we don't have enough workers. Well, if a mom has to make or spend the entire week making $800 a week, but she's spending $750 of it on daycare, what the heck is the point?
Exactly. And at the county level, there are a lot of things that people can do, to help relieve some of the stressors, the financial stressors. What are and I don't care who goes first. What are some of the ideas that you have for how you want to help resolve some of the issues that you are seeing in your communities?
The childcare thing, the county is already listening to that, and I applaud all of their efforts wholeheartedly, because they've started a committee where they've got partners all across the county that are trying to work together just to see, and it's still in the early phases, but an initial lay of the land of exactly how many people are providing daycare, how many are just like in-home daycares, they're just doing it for some friends, how many are larger scale ones, what's the cost of operating one. I would love to see some kind of public-private partnership where we just help cover the cost of the overhead for these kind of companies, so that way it's still a little lucrative for them to want to do this. Because if they're not able to make any kind of money off of it or even pay their own bills, why would they want to step up to fill this role?
Right.
So I'm okay with the county stepping up a little bit, paying for some of the rent, paying for some of the electricity, and then letting them get more people back to work, or just help alleviate the stress of paying $500, $600 a week. Blows my mind.
Right. And it seems like there should be a way to, not just with the, and you're in a small, in a small county where it's mostly rural, so you don't have access to the same things that we have access here in Marion County. But you would think that you
guys got it nice up there. It looks real pretty up there.
Thank you. Oh my God. It's so nice to hear when people from other counties talk about how wonderful my amazing city is, because it really is. Yeah, when you got more people, you're gonna have more crime. It's just gonna happen that way. But we also have a whole lot more stuff to do.
yeah, for sure.
So what are you saying to folks down there, Matt? What are some of the issues you're hearing, and maybe some ideas that you have on how you can help resolve some of those issues from a county level?
Well, I definitely feel the childcare pinch. It is just so real, and there's compounding factors. So COVID was a big one. That shut a lot of the daycare centers down, or reduced their capabilities for the number of people, number of children that could watch. A lot of people retired, and the smaller counties, like, oh, there's less people, so fewer resources, but also fewer people, less demand on those resources.
Yeah.
It's not much better, in the city, I don't think. We got on wait lists for like a dozen different daycares. I want to say at like 3 or 4 months of pregnancy.
Wow.
And
Gosh.
We were not getting callbacks or anything when she got off of maternity leave.
Jeez.
Luckily, we were able to find someone who's doing an in-home thing, on Facebook, and then a couple months of that, and then she was wanting to get a job, and it just happened to work out that we got a call back from one place,
Right.
at the about the same time that she was wanting to transition out of watching extra kids in her house. And so we were fortunate enough to find a daycare for them. If we would not have been able to find one, I mean, basically that would
Somebody would
probably
have to stay
mean
home.
my wife would not have been able to go back to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
And it kills
And
me because, like, they don't want a woman to have control over her body, but they also seem like they don't want a woman to be able to prosper financially, because they wouldn't put all these barriers in place for women to make it hard for women once they become parents. I mean, it's just it's rough out here. And I want to keep going because let's talk about school, because daycare is one thing. It's in education is something totally different. In Hamilton County, they're fighting a charter school trying to come in. One thing that happened was they shut down Orchard School, and per Indiana law, they were supposed to offer that school up for $1. But it was Hamilton County, so they didn't do that. That's only for Marion County and people of color. They didn't really mean for that law to go into effect in Hamilton County. However, one of the things that we are seeing now is we're starting to see where charter schools are trying to get out into the burbs. They're trying to maximize their dollar because they say they're public schools, but if you got all these organizations backing you and they're on the stock market, then they for profit. Especially in Dubois County, how would you address an organization coming in, a school closed because like many of our counties are losing population, they're consolidating schools. How do you feel about a charter school coming in and purchasing buildings for $1?
Oh man, I honestly don't even want to think about that. So we here in Dubois, we're really lucky that we have a pretty strong public school system. The Jasper school system, the Greater Jasper Consolidated School District, and Southwest Dubois School Corporation. Those two are the ones I work with the most. Southwest, they do a lot of things right, and their
Okay.
population is exploding because of it. I know in the middle school they're approaching 50% Latino population because people want to go to the school. They have a dual language or a dual
Dope.
immersion learning program. So some of the middle school classes you're being taught in English and Spanish at the same time, which I think is absolutely amazing. I can't applaud those guys enough. But oh man, yeah, I'm not sure how big of an impact that would be, but to take that money away from school corporations that are working really hard and that 100% deserve every penny that goes to them. I would not be, I don't think I'd be as nice of a person just because I know the people in those school districts, and they do a really good job of getting work done.
I love it. Okay, now Boone is just right next door to Hamilton County. So,
Mhm.
if they come into Hamilton, they come into Boone. Talk to me about how you feel about, the state. I mean, the law is law, dollar. Hamilton County got away with not selling that building, but how would you feel about that in Boone County?
So I think that is a undervaluation of public assets. So
I love how you used their language.
I mean, something that the taxpayers put millions and millions of dollars into to develop and build, and then you're going to sell it for $1. I mean, I feel like if it were on the open market, other developers, I mean, they would buy the land for more than a.
Yeah, come on now.
So that's shooting yourself in the foot, to own the libs.
That's blowing your leg off, I think. It's insane.
Plus the reason that I live where I live is because Me and my wife, we made the choice. We wanted to start our family, and we wanted to put roots down in the community, and we wanted our child to go to the best schools, in Indiana. And I feel that Zionsville School are the best schools in Indiana.
That's debatable, but okay.
But it is debatable. But I will say, when you look at the rankings of schools, well, you're gonna kind of play to your base,
right?
A little, but if you look at like the top 10, Zionsville, Carmel Clay, Hamilton Southeastern, these are schools that are doing really well. These are very high functioning school systems. And so, one of the arguments you hear for charter schools is like, they go in inner cities and failing districts. And, there's plenty that can be said, back to that, like, yeah, and then they're stealing even more funds from the schools that need it the most desperately.
The whole goal, let's be real.
But the story is they're needed there because those schools are failing. These schools are not failing.
See, I would argue that they weren't failing. They are helping them to fail. And I mean, when you go about the business of like siphoning out funds, because think about it, the charter situation only began in the places where there were Black and brown people. So if I tell you a thing is failing, because before there was grades, how did you know it was failing? If you didn't have a grade to it, so first we got to establish a grade, and then once we establish a grade, oh my God, now you're failing. So they continue to do things to make these schools fail. Then you say, oh, well, you should be able to have choice on where your kid goes to. So we're going to take money out of the public school system and give it to these private and for-profit organizations so that they can now steal away students. And then again, now that you have less money, you got to do more with less because you still got the same building, that you got to keep the same lights on, you still got to pay the same teachers. So I feel what you're saying. And there's a reason.
Anyone. And so that's the thing with private school. It's not equitable to the standards and the hoops that a public school has to jump through.
Exactly.
So you're comparing apples to oranges. And like I said, I came to this area because of the good schools, period. Yeah. So you bring charter schools into this area, siphons off dollars from those good public schools. What you're going to do is make a situation where those school rankings that attract people like me who are trying to grow and raise a family and give their children the best opportunities possible, they're going to go elsewhere because now those school systems don't have the dollars to invest in their children that they would have had.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about
that why affects property values. That affects so much stuff.
Yeah, it does. So let's go into the why you're running. Every candidate has 3 issues that they talk about when they are reaching out to you listen to your constituents, but you also have 3 main issues or somewhere abouts. So Dennis, what are the 3 main issues that you're talking to your constituents about after you get their feedback?
So the first one we talked about is childcare. The second one is local transportation. And then the third one ties into that, which my whole platform on that one is, I got a button here, stopping the Mid-States Corridor. And I don't know how much you have heard about that or if you've heard about it.
Tell us about it.
It's a $1 billion with a B billion-dollar road, all new terrain highway, 50-mile highway that on average, as reported from the RDA committee studying it, would save an average of 2 to 5 minutes on your daily commute.
From where to where?
It's going from like the southeastern part of the county up towards Orange, up towards Orange County.
So they just want to plow up some land. I mean, because we not like we need those trees to suck up all that carbon dioxide or anything, and put a road in. Your population is what in the county?
About 20,000. Or no, wait, I think it's 40.
40,000, and it's going to cut 2 minutes off the commute.
Oh yeah, yep. I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that Meyer Distributing and businesses from large Republican donors are all centered or headquartered here, because Mike Braun's logistics company is centered in Jasper, which is basically the district that I'm running for. So we've had multiple community meetings. I know one gentleman in particular asked them for a list of their donors, and the letter that he received back was an entire page of redacted black lines. Every single name on that donor list was blacked out, and they said they weren't going to disclose who their donors were. So I think we know exactly who's donating the money to it. It's all the CEOs, the people that own logistics companies around here. And I even know one of the CEOs is meeting weekly with the RDA committee. So there's been absolutely zero public input or say so in this.
What?
They raised their money. Yeah, none at all. Absolutely zero. So they've raised the money through private funds, private donations to start this. And they even, whenever they spoke to the county councils about it and the city councils, they told them that it was for a study that was going to look for improvements for US 231, which is the main highway through Dubois County, or improvements to 231. They have now used all of that money for a study, an economic study, for an entirely new 50-mile all-terrain highway, ripping up.
Wow. So, okay, so I assume that the money that they're raising is going to first purchase the land, right? Because they got to buy the land from somebody.
I think it was just to do the economic study.
And they haven't yet got any input from the public. When you're talking to the public, because I take it you're getting input, what are they telling you? What do they want?
Oh my gosh! If you just drive through the city, there's every third house has a stop the mid-states corridor yard sign in it. It's everybody down here. Give you a little bit of our kind of area around here. It's a very German area. I'm part German, so yay there.
All right, German and Hispanic. I'm here for that.
I am German and Hispanic, yeah. I like sauerkraut on my tacos. Don't yell at me. I haven't tried that yet, but now I'm actually going to think about it.
I mean, what? I mean, you could put a flour tortilla with some roast beef in it. I mean, some corned beef and some sauerkraut. Boom. What?
Boom. There you go. Where did you try that at, Matt?
Wait, I thought you said sour cream, not sauerkraut.
No, sauerkraut. Sauerkraut.
I've not done that.
Oh yeah, sauerkraut. But so it's a very old German heritage area. I mean, we have the Strassenfest, which is one of the largest street festivals in the state down here too. We just got done doing that. But one of the most loved restaurants here is the Schnitzelbank, and they are, they're a staple to the entire county, to the entire southern Indiana. They're a staple to everybody that lives down here. But they said in one of the public meetings that one of the owners said, if that road goes through, we're closing up shop and moving to Florida with all of our recipes. Not because the road's gonna kill our business, which it would, but not because it's gonna kill that, but because 4 of the 5 owners' homes are in the path of the road. So we're not gonna rebuild our houses. We're just gonna move.
Wait. Okay. So you mean they're trying to influence eminent domain?
Oh yeah, for sure. That would be the end. That would be the end result. Is if you don't sell your property, they would eventually take it, or they would be pushing for it. Yeah.
And you know they're not gonna give market value, even if they try to sell. Man, see that okay. All right, yeah, yeah. Let us know. Keep us posted on that. Like, tag me on stuff so I, can amplify that, because that's again a problem of people in positions of power not listening to their constituents, and that is a problem. If you're out there talking about an issue part of your campaign, it must be an issue. Without mentioning, do you have an opponent in District 2?
Yeah, I do.
And
sure do.
What side are they on?
I honestly haven't heard.
Okay.
I haven't heard him say anything about it.
Okay, that's all right.
I don't want to say that he's leaning one way or the other. I just don't know.
That's fair. That's fair. That is fair, man. Oh, ooh. See, you see what gets me riled up? I hate bullies, right?
Well, if it goes a level deeper too, because the Senate bill that was proposed for these committees to happen. Sent SB 128 was proposed by Mark Mesmer, who's lives in Jasper as well.
SB 128. So why do these people keep voting for and sending to the state house folks that don't give a damn about what they want? I just don't get it.
He can play the trumpet. I don't know. I can play the trumpet too, though. So I think we're on even grounds there. But
Man, that's scary.
It blows my mind. It's like man, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody reads news anymore.
No, they don't. They just read the snippets. They just read the snippets, the headlines, and the clickbait, and
I feel like local news doesn't get near the amplitude of action that the national and the state level
or
gets.
Adam Levine. Like,
oh my gosh. Jeez. Yeah, our local paper just closed down, I think a year ago too, and got bought out by an out-of-state newspaper company that publishes the same thing in, I don't know, 3 different states. So yeah, we've got a couple people doing local news that do amazing jobs, but we don't have a printing press or anything like that anymore.
Yeah. Matt, what are the 3 issues that you're hitting on in Boone County?
So the first issue is accountability, because the government is homogenously Republican. There is no oversight. There's no checks and balances.
Mm-hmm.
There's no incentive for transparency or accountability. If I was on the council and say I had a conflict of interest, everyone on the Republican side would be calling the Star, they would be calling the Lebanon Reporter, they would be pointing it out because different team.
Well, I don't know, the Star, they don't have no real news no more either.
But there's no counterpoint. There's no one who's privy to what they do to say, hey, this isn't right, that can bring that to the light, because they're all on the same team. There's no
check. There's no check and balance
to keep everyone honest.
Yeah.
And
number 2?
Number 2 is civility. So currently the county council, I was really kind of surprised when I started going to the meetings and getting plugged in and finding out just how you would think in a group that should be all homogeneously Republican that they could be pretty, civil towards each other. But there's a lot of infighting. There are multiple lawsuits going on right now.
Are they suing each other?
Yes.
Whoa.
Council member has suit against a commissioner. And there's another suit, a harassment suit between a county employee and that council member, and it's
a clown show.
A mess. Yeah, and so I think the voters of Boone County deserve better than that. And I want to be a council member for everyone. I certainly have opinions about these big national wedge issues, about abortion, about these things, but at the local level, a lot of these wedge issues are not applicable. There's nothing I can do from the county council that is going to, reinstate Roe versus Wade or anything like that.
Right.
And so, what I want, possible moderate Republicans who might be watching this out there here.
Oh,
but
dog! I don't know if they're ever coming on.
Someone could share a link. They could be like, this guy, he is not, vilifying or demonizing us. He's,
They not watching me, dog. I'm telling you.
talking, very, cognizantly, I gotta work with these people.
Yeah.
Because if every Democrat on the county ticket wins this election, we will still be in the minority.
Yeah.
And so,
because we didn't get enough people on the ballot.
That is true. That is true. But I want to work across the aisle to get things done for Boone County, and do that in rational and civil way where we don't have to throw lawsuits at each other and stuff.
They sound like they went to the Ty Rakita School of Law. That's what they sound like. Okay, what's number 3?
And then finally, the big one, the third point, is thoughtful growth. And this is like my biggest point, is that Boone County has so much going for it, right? Like I said, we have some of the best schools in the state. That's drawing people in. There's the new, research and development park coming in Lebanon. It's going to bring in all kinds of high-paying, high-tech jobs to the area. There's so much opportunity and growth. This county has like doubled in size in the last 2 or 3 decades.
Yeah, it's growing.
And so, to some people who have lived here those decades, growth is intimidating, and I feel and understand that, but I've also lived other places. Lived for 5 years in Delaware County, in Muncie. That was hit super hard, with economic challenges. As manufacturing left the country, and everything that we have going for us, they had going against them. Really. And we need to be able to realize that the growth is happening whether we want it to or not. And the reason it's happening is because we're doing some things right. And it is a good place to live. And so the only way to stop the growth is to make things bad, and I don't want to do that.
No, but
I
you got to also admit,
say, we gotta plan for this. We gotta be proactive instead of reactive, so that as people and businesses and development comes, we're smart about where and when and how it's happening, and we have the infrastructure in place to accommodate it, so that we continue to prosper.
Yeah, and one of the other advantage that you had over Delaware County is your proximity to Marion County. Yes, it's a plug because look, that's real talk, right? Because that's Cummings, there's Eli Lilly, there's NCAA, there's all these amazing companies that a lot of the residents in Boone County work at, and they move live out in Boone County. It's the the proximity to Indianapolis is another advantage that y'all have. People can stay in Marion County, but they go out to Boone County. I ain't mad at them.
I mean that's true. I work in Marion County, and as waters rise, it lifts all ships. So
absolutely,
I want good things for Marion County. I want good things for Hamilton County.
Exactly.
But the truth is, I live in Boone County, and I would really, like if there were, a nice big modern hospital,
right?
Close by in Boone County, that I could work at. I want more businesses in Boone County. There's not a lot of places in Boone County to spend your entertainment dollars. We need a lot more diversified growth. We need high-paying jobs. The homes here in Boone County are expensive, and that's what fuels our good schools. But why do you have to go work in Carmel, work in Indianapolis, and then go home, in Boone County? Why can't you work in Boone County, live in Boone County, spend your money where you live in your own community?
I'm with you.
That's really where my passion is. I want to help develop the economy of Boone County. And so Marion County is great, and it has a ton of stuff to do. And, I lived 25 years in Marion County.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got a lot of good memories there, but
I
I
love
want
Boone
to,
County.
spread the wealth.
Yeah, I agree with you. I love Boone County. In fact, I love all of my donut counties. I love them all because it adds some variety. And when I tell people who live outside of Indiana, when they think that we only have 10 people in the whole state, and I tell them that we dang near 1 million strong in Marion County, you add the donuts in, we 1.5 million strong, and they go, really? And I'm like, yeah, this is a city. This Now my man's down in Dubois.
So I gotta pipe up here. I lived in Chicago for nearly 2 years when I first started doing the neuromonitoring thing. I worked for a company that outsourced to various hospitals across the country, and I was stationed in Chicago. There's a lot of hospitals there, and I had friends in Chicago, and I do not know how many times their impression of Indiana, all of Indiana, is either Gary or Cal Tip. And I'm just like, have you been anywhere in your life? You've never gotten out of Chicago? Like, there's more to this world than Chicago. I feel like
hello, and you know what? I find the same thing with New Yorkers.
From New York and Chicago and LA, and some of these bigger metropolitan areas. People just never leave and assume that their area is the only area that has anything to offer. And I think that Indiana has its share of problems, for sure. But we also have our share of opportunities and assets that we can offer to people if they're interested enough to.
This is a cool place. If you can handle the winters, just come on. You know what I'm saying? And I know the people in New York can handle the winters and the people in Chicago can handle the winters. So come on. And in fact, if we spread some of that liberalism out across the country, we won't have people representing more cows than they do people. That's all I'm saying. All right, Indiana's on Dana Black. Woo! We've come to the end of the show. Before we go, Matt, I'm gonna let you go first. Tell the people where they can find you.
You can contact me and get more information about my campaign at mattfarmer4office.com.
And do you have any events coming up?
Yes, there is a Boone County Democrats pancake supper on Thursday, and you can get more information about that from the Boone County Democrats website.
Just make sure y'all turn left at the dinner. It's on Thursday.
Have it in the background,
right? All right, Dennis, tell the people where
there's a Zionsville Chamber of Commerce Meet the Candidates Night on Wednesday, October 19th. I
think I got Destiny Wells on that night. Man. Yep. Man. All right. Hey.
And other than that, I'm just going to be out, pounding the pavement, knocking on doors, meeting people, talking with people, trying to get yard signs out every weekend and Tuesday that I can.
I love it. Congratulations on getting on the ballot and working hard. Dennis, tell the people where they can find you.
So you can find me on Facebook at Dennis Tedrow for local Indiana. And then any kind of donations, you can just donate straight to the Dubois County Democrats. We are all kind of on a team, and we're all pulling our resources together to make sure that we all make it to the finish line across once we hit November 8th.
I love it. First of all, can I just say, you two are very, very, very strong candidates. Matt, they're not going to be ready for you when you win because you're going to be too smart for them. They're going to look at you like you are speaking another language. I just want you to understand that. They're not going to be ready. And Dennis, I'm loving that, as a young man, as a young person, you're like, I want to get out here. I want to be involved. I want to change the trajectory of my community versus leaving. You left, you go have your adventures. Go do your thing. But you came back home. So I want to thank both of you guys for stepping up, putting your names on the ballot. These are not glamorous races, right? They're not highfalutin, but they are some of the most important offices that people can hold in your community and in our state. And so congratulations on putting in the work. Indiana's on Dana Black. Look, I do this every week. And please donate to these candidates. $5. Sometimes that's all they need. Find them. You know, they told you where to donate to them. And the most important thing
even
is,
if it doesn't, buy everything, just seeing that someone, believes in you enough to make that $5 donation, what it does to morale.
absolutely.
I mean,
Amen.
that day you're like, yes.
I got 5. Hey, I remember those days. In the meantime, y'all, listen, October 11th is your deadline to register to vote. It's 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. If you are not registered to vote, get off your behind and go handle your business. Don't make me come looking for you, because you know Indiana's on. We'll come find you. All right. Indiana's on Dana Black. Turn left. I will holler at y'all next week. Peace. Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions. Executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by www.bensound.com.